This this thing you're seeing right now, it's the stupidest looking fish out there. Now, I'm gonna talk about some factoids of this thing. First of all, it looks like nature created it halfway and then just got bored and just said, "Nah, that's about it," and just slapped a rudder-looking thing on the back. Another thing, this is giant. Like, this is the biggest fish out there. And this thing has giant eyes, glassy looking eyes. It just looks like no one there. Because there isn't. These things have a tiny, minuscule brain. And, they can't close their mouth. Like, their mouth is just a beak. And you may be wondering, how do they eat stuff? Well, their throats look like Velcro, but made out of teeth. And they just just repeatedly push and pull stuff through their throat. And that's how they chop stuff up. These things are incredibly successful, considering they have been around for 5 times all human adjacent things, from the first monkey that decided to walk to you right now. All of that time, pentuple it. That's the age of this thing. And it has 5 other varieties. Obviously, you need variety. And this thing, you may be wondering, how did this move? They kind of fly through the water like how birds do it, just slapping the air, and that's how they work. And it's effective. Like, these things at their absolute peak could run down you. And thankfully, it's completely harmless unless you try to put your hand up its throat for some reason. I mean, it's so harmless that it does not care if you take a bite out of it. Like, animals do that. And the thing tastes so bad that animals just take a bite, spit that out, and are like, "Nah, I'll pass." And then this thing is swimming around with a gaping hole in it. This thing is the funniest fish I've seen. The interesting bit is, this eats basically the worst food you can imagine. Like, it survives off jellyfish. And if you don't know, jellyfish, if you put a jellyfish on, land, like, in a day or two, it will just evaporate for the most part. That's how little stuff there is in, jellyfish. And these things eat it. And somehow, eating basically nothing, they grow up this big. And they do it fast. Like, these things can increase their weight from 25 kgs to 400 kgs in a matter of months. Like, just imagine that. And these things, they lay eggs in the weirdest way. Their mothers just eject 300 million eggs into the sea. And just dip. That's it. And then they hope and pray to God that they find a dad who could make them exist. The fact is, it may be stupid, but stupid works, I guess. Because this thing has found its own niche, because nobody wants to eat jellyfish. They sting. They're worthless as far as calories go. And so, nobody eats them. And so, these giant birds of the sea eat them up. And another thing, the name of these things is Mola Mola. Or in other words, the ocean sunfish. Which is incredibly accurate, because these things, they come up to the surface of the ocean and just lie there for a couple of hours just to heat up. Because these things, remember, are cold-blooded. That means that they can't cook the cold well. They go down into the sea where the temperature is 4 degrees Celsius and just fish around there. That's how they live. They just come to the surface to heat up. That's it. And one of the sad things is, these things come up to the surface and just lie there and don't have a big brain. They just get run over by ships. Like, giant ships don't even see them. They just over them. Like, that's the main problem with these things. They get real shafted real quick. And they are considered to be threatened or at risk of extinction, which isn't a good thing, I tell you. It would be a sad day if these goofy things disappear. And another thing, these things typically weigh, like, quite literally weigh a ton, and these things start their life microscopic. They multiply their volume by millions of times. It's insane. These things are extreme. And remember how I said they taste like shit? That's because they're made of filler. Like, they're made out of the cheapest garbage you could ever imagine. That's what they're made out of. They got mucus filled leathery skin on top, and then shit underneath, and then after a thick layer, there comes their organs and bones. And look at the skeleton. It looks so weird. I don't know what to describe it. I guess these are seabirds, huh? Ocean birds. Water birds? Water birds. Yeah, these are water birds. And because these things are, giant and made of shit, nobody eats them. Because nobody wants to eat garbage the size of a car. It looks scary if you don't know how stupid it is. But I assure you, this car-sized, ton-weighing behemoth is made of garbage and can't do anything. And another thing is, because its brain, as far as you and I are concerned, the thing is infested with parasites 24/7. Every single one is filled up with parasites. These parasites live in the garbage layers between their body. Another reason these things, come to the surface is so that birds can peck out these parasites, which it's a working strategy. I mean, again, these things have been around for 15 million years. It works. Normal fish are filled with gas, basically just a organ filled with gas. It's just a balloon. Yeah, these things don't have that. These things are like submarines. They got ballasts. In other words, these things have the same density as water. That is to say, these things, don't go up, don't go down. They just stay in water, and they use their, rudders and their wings to fly across the water. The main reason they don't have gas in them and are just made of shit is because if they had gas in it, well, the gas would have been compressed, at the depths that these things go, and as soon as that gas gets compressed, this thing is gonna sink like a rock, because remember, it weighs a ton, literally. And so these goofy little goobers are quickly becoming my favorite fish there is. Probably my favorite animal there is, because these things, their daftness is the reason they exist. Like, man, looking at these things, it just makes me happy. Like, these things exist. God made this. What else could exist? What else exists if this stupid thing can exist? And not just that it exists, it's thriving for the most. It was thriving before humans started, just running them over with their boats. It was thriving, and man, that just it satisfies me to know that this thing exists, and that's why you need to know. Oh man. By the way, my throat has been cooked, and I got a bit sick, hence the cooked voice. But that's not important. These things, we don't know much about them, outside of what I just told you. We don't know much more about them. But the fact that we know that these things go real deep in the ocean, and the fact we know this much is pretty impressive, considering the main food source of these things, several hundred meters under the sea. It's pretty impressive. But yeah, I really like these things. By far the goofiest looking thing out there. And man, at least God was merciful enough to make them not feel the pain. Because God forbid they feel the pain of, several parasites living off on them and, occasionally being used as an appetizer. But yeah, I really like these things. Best fish God ever made. Yeah, hands down, never gonna get better. You can't top this. Yeah, that's about it for me. Bye.